Hey, Bill.
Howard.
Look at this.
Bill Murray.
You know Robin.
I met Robin once over by the river.
No, actually, we danced together once.
How do you forget a moment like that, Bill?
We were backstage at a concert. Steve Winwood.
I don't remember that.
How do you forget a moment like
Oh,
that?
Bill, we were having such a moment.
And what was Bill doing?
He was backstage on the side of the stage listening to the Stevie Winwood concert and dancing, and we were sort of dancing next to each other.
Slow dancing or fast dancing?
Fast dancing.
How far did you get with her, Bill? Did you kiss her? Did you feel her up?
See, I just remember this one time down by the river.
Ah.
I don't remember the river. What was I on?
Oh, there was some sort of something. I remember temporary trailers or something. There was some sort of a show over by the waterfront on the river there.
It was on the waterfront.
Bill, first of all, let me first say how thrilling it is to actually have you on the show, even if it's by the phone, because I'm a huge fan, and like everyone is, and it's an honor to talk to you.
Well, where are you doing your show from? Whatever happened? You used to be around, and then you went away. What happened?
Disappeared. I'm now in hiding.
Where do you do your show from?
I do it in New York City.
Weren't you doing it from Philly once, or am I imagining that?
No. I used to be on in Philly. We had a syndicated show.
And we used to visit there every once in a while.
And we would visit, but we do the show from New York. Where are you?
I'm down south.
What are you doing? You sound miserable.
No, I just was watching the news, and it's kind of, goofy news.
Were you getting depressed?
It's not depressing. It's just that you find these things out so much faster. Like it's first, it was, Egypt is already over, and now it's Libya and New Zealand.
Right.
Who can keep up with it?
And Wisconsin. And and you got to pick one. You got to pick one to be interested.
Which way are you going?
Wisconsin.
Okay.
Bill, are you tortured by show business?
No.
I sometimes get that feeling because this is all based on nothing except from what I read, and I get drips and drabs because, like, whenever I see something about you, I'll read and make sure I'm up on it because I'm always curious. But you always seem to me to be like one of these tortured artists. Like, you hate Hollywood. You don't want a manager. You don't want an agent. You don't go by any traditional rules of the business. You don't
live in Hollywood necessarily, do you?
Well, hate is a strong word. It's just what you need. There's a lot of I only lived in Los Angeles one time, and it was for about 9 months. And they have flowers that bloom at night. They have night blooming jasmine. That's really the high point. That's really about as good as it gets. But it's just too crowded, and the quality of life isn't so good. I always like, I come from Chicago.
Right.
And if you're an actor in Chicago, you've either got to go east or west. And so I went east, and I ended up in New York, and I like New York. I mean, I like the energy of it. In Los Angeles, you have to be sort of a self-starter, and I'm a basically lazy person. So I needed to bump into people to actually have, thoughts enter my brain, sort of creative ones.
Do you think that there's something unusual about you that most people who are in your business, filmmaking, they would almost be paranoid not to have a way to be reached? You've completely secluded yourself. In other words, I mean, I've read every famous story about you where you'll get offered a movie and for months you won't even hear about it because no one can get a hold of you and no one can get a commitment from you.
Well, I'm on your show this morning, so it's not like I'm in deep hiding. It's not like, Bin Laden or anything. But it's, I've just found that, if you had an agent, your agent will say to their secretary, get me Bill Murray, call him. And they will call your house, and they'll let the phone ring forever.
Right.
Forever. And you're sitting there in the house going, I don't want to answer the phone. And the phone will ring 79 times. And you think, what kind of person would do that to anyone? And it's just someone that is afraid to walk into the office and say, I can't reach him. Will let it ring until lunch.
But I would think you would want the offer because let's say it's a great movie.
Why don't you want to answer the phone?
I mean, I've heard you've missed out on actual good movies because they can't get a hold of you.
Nah.
Not true.
Well, you tell me the good movies I missed out on, and I'll let you know. There's been a couple that, would have been, that I knew were going to be good movies, but, I I would trade the lack of irritation for the odd movie. I don't think I've missed anything. I think if people really want you, they find you. So
right. And how does one go about finding you? In other words, if there's no publicist to call, let's say I have a script that I think is great for Bill Murray.
Well, Howard, you're just going to have to devote the rest of your life to do it to that.
I have to chase you down.
Yeah.
No, but I think that's interesting that he says if they want you, they find you. There's very few people in Hollywood who think somebody's looking for them.
That's true.
Well, and that's a thought.
Well, I'll tell you what. I read a story about, like after Saturday Night Live, the thing I read was that even originally Ghostbusters was written for Belushi. Belushi died, and then they said, hey, let's get Bill Murray.
Uh-huh.
And then after the huge success of Ghostbusters, Bill was offered, this is crazy to me, you were offered the role of Han Solo in Star Wars.
I don't know. Maybe.
You don't remember that?
I never heard that one. I like the job Harrison Ford did. I'm happy with him. I hear these stories all the time. It's I was offered the Pope, being Pope too. I turned it down. They just couldn't reach me.
That's really true. You've only heard that story, but you never heard someone say to you, "I want you to be Han Solo."
Well, the papacy can be a hassle. I've heard that one lately. Han Solo. I heard Batman too. But these are all just.
Do you think you're a genius?
No. I mean, genius. No. I mean, I'm pretty good at what I do. I'm as good as anyone in my neighborhood.
Was the highlight of your career Saturday Night Live in the sense that you got to go on every week and do a comedy sketch, get it right on the air? I mean, movies maybe frustrate a guy like you. You're so good at improvisation.
Well, movies really suit my attention span. You've got to do a take for 90 seconds or so. That's about as long as I can hold it together. But Saturday Night Live was really, I won't say anything about it except it was great fun.
It was?
But I was just still, I was just getting better. It was a great education, Saturday Night Live, just as like Second City was a great education. So that's really the, if any, calling someone a genius is like, yeah, right. But I really had great teachers and great education. So when I came out of those two places, if you really did Saturday Night Live for a few years, you can pretty much do anything.
Yeah.
And the Second City thing on top of that, it just made you very, sort of responsible for what you do, and you don't take yourself too seriously. So.
Were you in that same weird boat that when you got to Saturday Night Live? I remember your boat was the weirdest because Chevy left, you had to take over, and everyone hated you at first because they just wanted the original cast and no one wanted to give you a chance. Do you recall it being like that?
Well, like you say, hate is a strong word,
right.
But, there were a lot of people that were funny on the show. I was basically the second cop for the first, few months I was there anyway.
Right.
So it wasn't like anyone was getting, was losing sleep over me.
Oh, was it a horrible experience and pressure to sort of have to prove yourself to the world and say I'm worthy?
It's not dissimilar to like when I first went into Second City when you're the new guy on the stage and no one wants to work with you because you're an unknown quantity. They want to just work with the writers want to write at Saturday Night Live, wanted to write for the people they knew. They didn't know me. So
did you end up writing most of your own material?
Well, I ended up writing some. I mean, that's how I sort of broke through a little bit. As I wrote something with Tom Davis. And
did you ever go to Lorne Michaels and say, I find this impossible, no one wants to work with me, can you help me with this? Or did you just sit there and suck it up and take it?
Well, yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? He's got other things to do than worry about me.
That's a good attitude.
Yeah.
I would have gone crying and say, no one wants to play with me.
You're an emotional slob.
I am.
Yeah.
Do you like Lorne Michaels?
Yeah. Yeah, he's a complicated character, and he really has gotten really, really good at that job. I mean, as good as he was back then, he's a million times better at it now. He really is good at the job.
And because his strength is he finds people, puts them together, and keeps that show on the air.
Well, he keeps the people together, which is really the hard part. I mean, there are infamous people in the comedy world that had all the talent and alienated them, and they went away. But he's managed to keep good people, good writers, good actors, and good technicians. I mean, good cameramen, good lighting guys. That's a tough building to keep all the best guys in one room.
Do you still watch the show?
I'm not very regular. When you work on Saturday Night Live, when you work on Saturday Night for years, you're kind of pleased to have it off. You know what I mean?
Are you? Why? Because, in other words, it brings back bad memories, or you just
Oh,
want...
no, it's just that it's Saturday night. You know, it's sort of free. But I watch it. I catch up with it. I'm not as organized as sitting through it. It's, pardon me. It's a lot easier to, like my friend Jim Downey will, like, make discs of, he'll just send me a disc of, you got to see these ones. And he'll send me discs of the best sketches and so forth. But I think they're...
He sends you sketches that he thinks are good. Does he send you any that he thinks are bad?
Why would he do that?
Well,
No,
because
he's not like that at all. He doesn't say, "Look at this crap."
He doesn't.
No, he's he's one of the funniest people in the world, and he's, Lauren. That's one guy that Lauren has kept on the show since I was there. We started the same week.
Are you upset that Lauren gets to repackage these shows and sort of redistribute them through CDs, DVDs, the specials, and constantly take your work and do it over and over again? And I would imagine you get no residuals for that, right?
Well, I don't think about the residuals too much. I mean, I just hope that everyone that needs money will have it,
But do you get paid from that?
Well, I got a check once for 1 cent.
Right, and I believe
I really did. I
right.
really got a check for 1 cent once.
What
I don't pay a lot of attention to those things, and I know that someone's making real money on it. And we kid about how we've created a college fund for Lauren's kids, but he's worked very hard, and he's been very he has to take the credit for getting the show made. He has to take the credit, and there's people making money. There's at all levels of it. I just hope that everyone all the actors and all the writers that ever need money, and whenever that becomes the case, Lauren makes sure that everyone's okay.
Do you think he's doing that? I think you're saying that somewhat sarcastically. In other words,
I'm not saying it sarcastically. I'm saying
he's not going to some of the old writers who are probably living in a.
He's a nice Jewish boy from Toronto, and you can, he's vulnerable to guilt, and when people need help, he helps them.
Does he do that?
That's to my knowledge, he does. I mean, I've seen it happen. I know that it's happened.
Is there a reason?
I mean, he could spend all day looking for people to help out.
Is there a reason you don't host Saturday Night Live more often? I mean,
I've done it a couple times. I like this group they have now. I think the group they have now is very, very, very good. I like these actors. These are the best actors since the first group, I think, this group they've got.
Are you in touch with Aykroyd?
Yeah.
You like him?
Yeah, he's my friend for life.
The only one, another guy who's so brilliant, I feel he's underutilized. Do you sense his frustration at all when you speak to him?
Well, he has a different life. He has a much more interesting life than many people. He has a lot of interests.
I know, with the aliens.
Not just vodka. I mean, he's selling this vodka, this Skull bottled vodka.
I know. I have some of it.
All right. Well, he has a lot of different kinds of interests. He's sort of, he's kind of interested in the English history, and the life of the old English people. And
in other words, he doesn't need show business to keep him happy. He has so many interests.
He has a lot of, he's interested in ghosts, for heaven's sake. He's in that whole paranormal world. He has a lot of different interests. He reads a lot. He likes to get on the road. He likes cars.
The one guy you didn't like was Chevy. That's it, right? The other ones you like.
I'm okay with Chevy.
I heard
Chevy
you're not.
and we had our dust up on the show, but that was almost Oedipal, or I don't know what the hell that was. That was Greek, whatever that was.
Do you see him now? You don't see him, though.
I see him. I see him. I see him at least, usually once a year. I haven't seen him in a little bit, but that's because I've been busy. But he's funny. I mean, Chevy is funny. And Chevy in life is funnier than almost everyone. He can really make just walking around
funny.
Yeah,
so no animosities.
Huh?
Did you make love?
Well, that's what I wanted to...
Bill, did you make love to all of the women on the show? Gilda...
Well, yes, of course.
You did? Were you...
He's not being serious.
Of course he is.
No, there's a couple dying when I say that. No.
You didn't make love to any of the women on the show, or you got some of them?
Oh, well, it was a different time, when, love was important. Love is not important any longer. We know that. It's just about money.
Is it really? Are you bitter from all your marriages and divorces?
No.
You are not. But that sounded like a bitter statement. It's all about...
Oh, no, I was making a joke.
I don't think so.
Sometimes we make the jokes. It was just they were, women are funny and men are funny. Ask a woman, they'll tell you men are weird, and you ask a man, they'll say women are strange. But I like women. I'm okay with women. challenging, you know, but...
Are you a tough guy to be in a relationship with?
I don't know. I mean...
I think you're eccentric. Right?
I don't think so. Howard. I don't think I'm eccentric.
Well, we read these things every once in a while about you in a golf
Well, you
cart.
can't believe what you win. You can't believe what you hear in the paper all the time.
All right, but let me understand something.
I think I'm a barrel of monkeys.
Like I had Ron Howard in here. Okay, this is an example of where you get the reputation of being difficult. Ron Howard's in here. We're talking about movies and stuff. And there was this story about how you had a script that you loved.
Yeah.
You went to Ron Howard and you said, Ron, I want you to direct this script.
I knew this would come back to haunt me. Yeah, go on.
No, and he read it and he said, you know, Bill, it's not for me. I don't want to direct this film. And you were so upset with him that it's completely ruined your relationship with Ron Howard. True or false?
Well, false, because I never really had a relationship with Ron Howard.
Oh.
But I liked his movie. I think he made a movie called Eat My Dust or something like that. He directed, or Jackson County Line or something like that.
Right.
He directed a movie, and I thought, hey, that's good. That's pretty good. You know, he can do this. So I went with him with this movie called Quick Change.
Right.
Which is a movie we ended up shooting in New York. And I said, you know, why don't you do this? And he said, I don't get it. There's no one to root for. And I thought, that's the craziest Hollywood jive ever. I mean, and I shouldn't say jive, but that's like a term that doesn't spring from any place.
Right.
For me, you know, and I just thought, well, that didn't make any sense to me. And I was chagrined to hear that, because if like guys driving fast on dirt roads is somebody to root for, and this one wasn't, I see I can compare them.
All right, but it's fair to say
I like him, and he's a nice person.
Yes, and it's fair to say that, hey,
and I enjoyed him in The Shootist with John Wayne too.
Yes.
He's had a very long and very successful career.
But
and
Bill,
that was just an instant, you know, that was a moment.
But it is fair to say that someone might not get the script. For whatever reason, it wasn't his cup of tea.
Well, yeah, but it was what he said.
You felt it was.
It wasn't like I got a pass on it. It was like there's no one to root for, and that was just the one that was just landed funny. It was like a boomerang inside your mouth.
So you have to be careful what you say to Bill Murray. Like if I was hanging out with you, you will evaluate me because you can detect horseshit when you hear it.
Well, everyone thinks they can. Everyone thinks they can.
I see.
Now, do you remember the one time we were photographed together?
I have it hanging on my wall.
That's hilarious. And the third person in the picture is
Governor Cuomo.
I tell that to people, they can't believe it.
This was the craziest thing.
It was a Live at 5 moment,
I was
right?
so nervous. I was Live at 5, which is a local NBC show in New York. It's the news show. And the guests that day were me. It was Governor Cuomo.
Yeah, he was the governor at the time.
And Bill Murray. And I was so nervous because for some reason I've always felt that Bill Murray hated me. And I don't know why. I don't have anything to base it on, Bill. But for some reason, I got very intimidated. Number one, I admire him greatly. And Governor Cuomo, I was sure didn't like me. And then all of a sudden we took a picture, but you didn't seem to be thrilled to be taking the picture. The governor didn't seem to be thrilled. And I was a nervous wreck. Do you detect, was there a problem with me between us?
No, we don't have a problem, Howard. I just want to remind you that when we posed for the picture, the guy who was the most uncomfortable was Cuomo, and when it first was set up, it was left to right. It was myself, and then you, and then Mario, and Mario actually said, "Here, Bill, you get in the middle."
Right, I do remember that. That's true. He didn't want to stand next to me.
Right, he needed something.
Yeah, that was very well. Now you know.
Buffer.
Well, Bill, now you know my life.
It was everything I could do to hold it together because I thought, God, this guy is a master.
Howard,
yeah.
Do you remember what happened? So it was Mario Cuomo, Bill, and you, and Jerry Knappman walked by. Do you remember what he said?
No, what did he say?
He goes, "The decline of Western civilization."
Bill, is it true? And I want to. There's a reason Bill's calling in. I'm going to get to that, but I have so many questions. Can you hang with me a little bit?
All right.
Okay. Is it true that there is a Ghostbusters 3 and you're the problem? You will not sign off on this? Do you know about this?
Yeah, I guess I'm the problem. Before I was an asset. Now I'm a problem. There's a script somewhere over there. Over there, there's a script, and I haven't read it yet. But
why haven't you read it? Because you think that that's a bullshit idea? That, in other words, Ghostbusters had its time, and you did a remarkable job with that, and now, you've moved on?
There's a little bit of that. I only made one sequel, and it was Ghostbusters 2, and it didn't end up. Pardon me. It didn't end up the way it was presented. You know, about 5 years after we did the first one, the clever agents got us all together in a room, and we really are funny together. I mean, they are funny people, Harold and Danny and myself, and it was Ivan and maybe one or two other people. And we were just really kind of blindingly funny for about an hour or so. And the agents there was just foam coming off of them. And so we, you know, they had this pitch, and Danny and Harold had already, you know, concocted some sort of, you know, story idea. And It was a story, and it was a good story. I think I'd even already read one or two that Danny had rolled out before that, but this one was a good one. I said, okay, we could do that one. You know, and it was just kind of fun to have all of us together. And I mean, there's some really, Rick Moranis and Annie Potts. These people are they're sterling people to begin with.
So how do you go back and really make another? I mean, does Ivan want to make that film?
Yeah, Ivan wants to make it, and he's I owe him you know, he's puzzled that I haven't gotten to this one.
How long has it been sitting on your desk, this script for Ghostbusters?
Well, it may not be on the desk. It's over there somewhere. It's how long?
Yeah,
I don't know.
So you're never.
So you
read
have
it.
no interest.
Well, I'll get to. I got to get to. I feel badly. I got a message that, and you know, I think people. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. It's not like the foremost thing in my mind right now. So I don't think about it. But you know, the studio gets excited about it every 10 years or so, it seems like, and they get rid of it because what they'd really like to do is recreate the franchise. You know,
Right.
I remember once upon a time it was going to be. And the new Ghostbusters will be Chris Rock, Chris Farley, and, you know, Chris Crane or Chris Kringle or someone. They had it together.
Is that a threat to you? In other words, do they try to threaten you by saying we're going to put together new Ghostbusters and therefore you guys will have to go do it? Is that the?
Well, it's not a threat. It's you know, it's sort of businesslike. You know, they'd like to keep it going. I mean, it's still an amazing. There are still kids today that watch this movie and love it. You know, it's still very popular. So they still sell a lot of toys and everything. So,
do you see the money from that? Are you a very wealthy guy?
Oh, I've been. You know, I save.
Are you worth over $100 million?
I never think it's real nice to talk about money.
Why is that?
You know, I'm okay though. My phone bill is paid and my rent's paid. And
where did the bulk of your money come from? After something like Saturday Night Live hits, you don't make a lot of money from Saturday Night Live.
Not any longer, no.
And I'm assuming
you have a limited. The residuals burn out very quickly on television.
So I'm assuming the like even Ghostbusters, you probably had a crappy deal because you were new to the movies.
I wasn't that new, Howard. I never really had a crappy deal in the movies, except unless we didn't work with a friend.
Do you have the merchandising on Ghostbusters? Did you get a piece of that action?
Well, you know, when you're part of something like that, it's all part of everything.
So that's where you made the big money. I mean, I'm thinking of some of the movies you've made that are quite incredible. I'm talking about Stripes, right?
Yes.
To me, one of the best. Do you make money? Is that where you made the bulk of your money?
Well, all actors that are in movies get paid.
Yeah, but
whenever they're on.
You know a lot of that money goes out the window.
Well, I know, but there are people that, you know, there are organizations that, you know, if you made a movie a long time ago and it's on TV, you get paid something for it.
I got a check just the other day.
If you're making movies and you have an interest in it, you know, you should be okay if you don't, you know, start buying too many houses. Or
yeah, but you invest in like
gambling.
stuff like, didn't you buy like several minor league baseball teams?
Well, I'm in that business, yeah.
Is that a moneymaker?
Is that a good business?
That seems like a crummy business to me.
Well,
is it good?
It's the baseball business is a good business, Howard.
Oh,
is it really?
Yeah.
So you are a good businessman.
Well, I'm pretty good in my own business. I'm a pretty good businessman. Yeah.
Were you?
Who would think to invest in baseball?
Not me. What do I know? But you said Bill's really into sports.
He loves sports.
He loves it. Loves the golf. Loves all that. He's a real man. I'm such a woman.
Well, speaking of business, Howard, this brings up my question.
All right,
are you still driving that Sterling?
A Sterling?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Weren't you like plugging the Sterling automobile relentlessly for a couple of years. I've always laughed about this because you would get on your show and talk about this car that you were driving. It's called a Sterling.
No,
Never.
that wasn't me. I don't know anything about cars.
Wait a minute.
He hardly drives.
I mean, I do read live commercials, so maybe that...
No. You had a Sterling. Do you remember?
I don't even know what it is.
It was an English car.
No.
And it was made on the same sort of chassis as a Honda.
Not me.
All right, we're going to do the research on this. I'm sure you'll be getting calls, but you used to plug this goofy car, and I used to laugh about
Really?
it.
Never.
This is
That was an
automobile
advertisement.
I've ever driven in
No,
my life.
Fred-
And I go like, what the hell is with this guy?
Fred just told me it's an it was an advertisement.
You were plugging this thing relentlessly.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
I'm
we're
sure. I
being
mean,
paid.
that's the way I get paid. You know, it was crazy. I mean, it was probably a sponsor you're talking.
But you don't have you don't have one of these in a garage somewhere?
No,
You're
no.
kidding. You didn't have one in every color? And
No, I don't even like to drive. I hate the whole thing.
I don't know. Well, in New York, you don't need to drive so much, but it is the best place to drive.
The whole thing seems dangerous to me. Bill, are you an angry guy? For some reason, I feel like it's out there that you're... First of all, you come from... You have 9 children in your family, right?
Oh, he's one of 9.
Yeah, one of 9. I feel like when you grow up in a family that large, you get very little attention.
Well, how many siblings did you have?
One.
Were you an only child?
No, I had one sibling.
Oh, okay.
No, seriously, wasn't it horrible to grow up around that many kids and not get the attention of your mother and father?
Well, people would say that's what the middle child syndrome is, that one ends up having to work hard,
Right.
to get some attention. So I had to work pretty hard to get some attention. You have to work pretty hard to get attention in a house with a lot of kids, period.
Are you in therapy?
No.
Have you ever had therapy?
Yeah, I got depressed once.
Yeah, I thought I remembered a bout of depression with you.
What were you depressed
Is that
about?
a joke? You remember
No, I remember reading that Bill Murray suffers from depression.
You do?
I don't think so. But,
What happened when you went to the
suffer
shrink?
from depression. I basically worked my way through. It wasn't like a shrink. It was just, life just gets a little complicated sometimes, and
You mean with the broads?
Well, with women, and you get.
Well, I'm being Frank Sinatra.
Complicated, and you have to figure out, what the hell. Why are you behaving this way?
Will you ever get married again, or are you completely turned off to marriage?
Well, I don't know if I'm completely turned off to anything, but I'm not in eHarmony.com. I'll tell you that.
How many times has he been married?
I don't even know. Bill, what's the story?
He has been married 2 times.
Oh, twice.
Oh.
You must have dated like a maniac, though. When you during Saturday Night Live, was it one big sexual orgy? I'm talking about the groupies.
I'm surprised we ever went to work.
Are you serious?
No, there's a lot of work, but it was a different time then, and it was fun, and you have a lot of energy. You go around.
A lot of drugs.
And no, I never had a big drug thing particularly. No, I mean you can't most people when they say drugs they mean like cocaine and so forth. You can't be funny. It just destroys your timing.
And you would worry about that. In other words, you were like, "Hey, this is something
far more important than I never." And the cocaine, was not. It sort of makes you go real fast in neutral, or real high in neutral. But it destroys your timing. And when they're written up on the wall, the comedians that ruin their lives and their timing by doing cocaine.
Was it your idea to be on Saturday Night Live to be the guy who does the songs and sings the
lounge singer?
The lounge singer. Was that your concept?
Well, I wasn't the first to sing, and
no, but you know what I mean.
Something that I did a long time ago at Second City. I did it once, and there's a kind of a performer thing that's fun to do, and I like doing it. It turned out to be really a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, but I see tons of people imitating that bit. In other words, it's probably the most imitated comedy bit. Everybody takes a song, like a rock song, and then starts to be the lounge singer. That's uniquely you. And whenever I see someone doing it, it disturbs me. I go, that's Bill Murray. What is that?
Well, it's just kind of fun to get it out there in the world. I mean, like I've got sons that watch, like, the Anchorman movie, and they do and they just do bits from it. People do bits from movies. I realize that now, that people do bits from my movies, bits from, Will Ferrell's movies, and they just like certain things that resonate in a moment. Like something will happen, and they'll just sort of spit out a line.
It's iconic, that bit. I'm
from
telling
a movie,
you. Yeah.
And so they'll do it, or they'll see someone do a kind of like, greasy piece of entertaining, and they'll go off on something that harmonizes with it. So,
Bill, talk to me about the sex for 1 minute, because I'm running out of time here, and I want to talk about Get Low also, which is available today on DVD. But first of all, talk to me about the sex. Did you have tons of famous women, and are famous women better than, let's say, regular women?
Well, I just think the only thing about, when you talk about famous or whatever, it's like tons of women. The thing that's interesting about being famous with women is that women will speak to you.
Yes.
They'll talk to you.
It's a groundbreaker.
And it's not necessarily that, I'm going to end up with sex because I'm famous. It's more interesting to talk to women. I mean, I'm not putting sex down in any way, but it's just kind of interesting to get women to start talking without having to be, some sort of safe cracker or, kind of like clever,
It's
way.
an icebreaker.
It's just easy to, to allow women to speak because of the sort of sexual game that's played all the time.
Yes,
people don't really show themselves to you. So
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
No, I'm saying I'm not an attractive man, and I walk into a room.
No,
and
by no means.
By no means am I attractive, but you'll agree to that.
Wow.
And I walk into a room, and women are willing to speak to me because they feel they know me already, and they feel safe in a sense.
Yeah, and that's when you're 22 or something, that's not very important. But you realize as time goes on how important that is, not just to
but did you
not
get
just
to
have
enjoy,
a conversation,
but
to really sort of put you on the planet, to ground you on the planet, that people are actually speaking directly and honestly. It's very refreshing.
But so Bill, are you trying to imply that he got a lot of the hosts of the show?
How many female hosts of the show did you bang? And then go through a laundry list of women that we would all know and share with us some of their sexual desires.
Yeah, I know.
Go ahead, Bill.
No, that's like saying what your favorite golf course is. That's not polite. You're not supposed to do that.
Of course you're not supposed to, but do it anyway.
But there are ones that I'm crazy about the ones I'm really crazy about are the ones I didn't, I remember when Sissy Spacek was on the show, I thought she was like, and she still is really handsome, but I was crazy about Sissy Spacek. Because
so why not have sex with her?
Well, that was sort of my thought.
Right. She didn't want any sex with you?
Too proper for that, but boy, she was great fun. And her husband is like a very happy guy.
Yes, well.
Because she is a pot belly still. She really is.
Well, listen, Bill called in today. Listen, you need to come in here live and let me get a hold of you. And I will interview you.
Will that ever happen?
Will that ever happen, Bill? Do you think one day you'll walk in here?
I mean, isn't it amazing? I'm on your show.
It's amazing. In fact, I've heard stories.
How long you've been doing your show a while, and I've never been on.
I mean, I'm doing it like 35 years, and you've avoided me. But I'll tell you what.
Well, you wake up so early.
Well,
Who the hell wants to get up at that hour? And then you went away. You used to be on the radio.
No, I'm on the radio.
We're on satellite.
But we're on satellite. It's not real radio. You're absolutely right. But, Bill.
So how's this working out for you? Yeah, go ahead. I'm supposed to...
Yes.
Go ahead, you ask me.
First of all, Bill Murray is promoting Get Low, which is available today on DVD and Blu-ray. Do you want to say something about that, Bill?
Did you see it?
I saw it. It's great.
Why have I not seen this?
You could see it. It's on, you probably had an
What is it
opportunity
about?
to see it.
It's a movie that I made last year. It came out this year, actually. I made it in Georgia. And the star of the movie is Robert Duvall, and Sissy Spacek is in the film. And it's one of the best movies I've made.
It is a great movie.
All right, I'll tell you what.
Movie.
I will get Low, and I will watch it, and I will recommend that my audience do.
He plays a funeral director.
Yeah, we thought, I think they thought, it was a Sony movie, but I think they thought it was going to get nominated for some Oscars. They thought, not so much myself, but certainly Robert's performance is off. It's better than anything that I've witnessed. better than anything I've worked with.
He's an amazing actor.
He is. But in this particular thing, this turn he did in this, I can't believe he didn't get nominated for an Oscar. It's just,
well, you hate the Oscars, don't you?
I don't hate the Oscars.
Yes, you do. In 2004, you did a movie called Lost in Translation, which you were brilliant in. Sean Penn, you went to the Oscars as much as you didn't want to because you're not a big fan of the Oscars. Sean Penn won for Mystic River, and afterwards you said you were angry that Sean Penn won. You felt you should have won, and you were pissed off at yourself for going to the Oscars. You true?
Well, that's not really correct.
Oh. It's a good story.
You could argue that, I was just sort of thinking, I won all the prizes up to it. I won every other award. I was just a little surprised, I suppose. But by the same token, Howard, and I think Sean Penn's been better in other movies than he was in Mystic River.
You felt you deserved it. You deserved the Oscar.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't really know.
You wanted it, though.
There are a lot better actors than I. Robert Duvall, for one.
Yeah, but you wanted.
I saw guys win. I saw like Kevin Costner win an Oscar over Paul Scofield. Then I thought to myself, now, hang on, because, hang on here. But I found even being nominated for an Oscar was like having a small, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but it's almost like having a small virus for a while, because you get a real kind of weird, inflated sense of yourself. And about 6 months after the Oscars, and I hadn't won, I realized, wow, I was kind of like mildly sick there. I had a condition I didn't even know about.
Wow.
And I realized that it's sort of an infection to be nominated for an Oscar. I mean, it's an honor and everything, but it's real subtle, kind of like ego poisoning, It makes you just a little too.
But
so
you
I
know
was
what?
glad. So now I'm glad I didn't win because
no, you're not.
I wasn't ready to do it. Oh, I absolutely
Bill,
am.
listen, I find it charming.
Enough people saw the Oscars, they think I won. You'd be surprised how many people think I won.
No, but I find it charming. I find it charming that you got angry because it shows you really do care. Because you come off as such a relaxed guy. The fact that you actually cared if you won the Oscar shows me how human you are, and that's a good thing.
I think it's you kind of want to you don't want to compete like to be better than or something. You just want to do your best, like an actor says, I'm doing this well. I'm going to try and do that well,
Did you? Did you congratulate Sean Penn when he won, or did you walk away in a huff?
I didn't go in. I went to the party afterwards.
You did?
Yeah, sure.
Did you get laid that night?
Probably.
Isn't that a great thing? Right?
Yeah.
He doesn't even remember. It's such a,
No, it was a tough night.
Did you rack up tremendous amounts of numbers in terms of women? I'm not asking you to brag. Was it in the hundreds or thousands? Are you Gene Simmons?
Oh, God.
I mean, really, Bill.
Now, who's Eugene Simmons?
Not Eugene.
Not
Gene.
You. Gene Simmons of Kiss is always talking about how many women. Did you have many, many women?
Well, I had a couple really good ones. That's the best thing.
Did you have Sigourney Weaver?
No.
It's a shame.
Well,
I could see you two kids.
She was too good for me, but we could have, but she's a powerhouse of a woman. She's a great woman.
Do you hate getting older?
No, it's okay.
I'm not thrilled with it.
Well, I read a good thing written by Henry Miller once that was an essay entitled "On Turning 80." He turned 80 years old, and people said, and he writes in it that, 80 years old, that's what? And he said, well, what people don't understand that are younger is when you're 80, you act 80 years old. But you're also capable of acting 40 years old and 22 years old and 15 years old. So you just contain all these other ages inside of you. You can still act like an infant. You can still act like an adolescent. You can still act like a kid.
And you like that. But your body physically, when it begins to, like, you love sports, it's harder to hit the ball. You
can't do the things even as a comedian you used to do.
Right.
Well, I don't know about that.
Oh, I'm just asking.
How dare you, Robin? Bill,
I don't know about that.
What about Groundhog?
I may bark a little bit after I play basketball. But.
Bill, Groundhog Day. I love this movie so much. But did you like Andie MacDowell or did you hate her?
Well, I like her more now. Back then, she used to drive me crazy because I used to wait for her hair.
Ah,
Yeah,
in other words,
she does have the best hair you've ever seen in your life. Better than your hair, Howard.
Well,
She's got unbelievable hair.
It's similar to my hair. It looks like actual bees. It's like a beehive hairdo, I remember. So in other words, you would get aggravated because you really are the star of that movie. You made that movie fly, and you're sitting there ready to act. You're ready to do your thing. You feel energized, and you're sitting in your goddamn trailer waiting for this woman's hair to get done. Am I correct?
Well, it was it was a hard, you know, I had to do a lot of work on it. I was probably a little, you know, there was maybe a little more going on than just that. But
what do you mean?
You know, when I look at the movie now, and I just remember one day where I had a scene with Andy, and I had to eat. I was stuffing cake into my mouth. I made the choice that I was going to be eating large pieces of cake through the scene.
Right.
And Andy kept blowing her lines, and it drove me crazy because I probably ate somewhere in the neighborhood of 40,000 calories worth of cake. And I'm not a barfer, so there I was with all this cake in me.
Right.
And I do this scene, and I do it really great, and Andy didn't know her lines, and I was very frustrated. But when I look at the movie now, it really is I look and I went, God dang, look at that.
It's a masterpiece.
It really is. It is a great movie, and she's great in it.
She is. Yeah. But I hear what you're saying. With movies, they can save you. You can do 500 takes. But as the guy who has to be funny, and you know you've done something good.
Yeah, as the guy that had to eat the cake, I was not happy.
And so did it come down to that you wouldn't even speak to her?
No, that's not. You can't get movies done not speaking to people. You've got to get, you know, no matter what kind of person you're working with, you've got to get results.
Did you sleep with her?
No.
Gwyneth Paltrow?
No, I wish I did.
Scarlett Johansson?
Gwyneth Paltrow's she's the most attractive girl I've met.
She is sexy, right?
Better than Scarlett Johansson.
Gwyneth Paltrow is like a big human being. She's a really extraordinary person in many ways, and she's really kind too.
You wish you could make love to her?
Oh, I don't think about it. She's dating.
Oh,
no,
please.
she's got a husband and kids. I don't think about it.
Big deal.
She's a really wonderful girl.
I tell you, I could talk to you all day. I'm not going to hold you here all. But Bill Murray has a movie out, Get Low. It's available today on DVD and Blu-ray. It stars
Robert Duvall.
Bobby D.
Yeah,
Which Bobby D is a better actor, De Niro or Duvall, or you can't even separate them?
Well, you know, I don't like to live in a world of comparison. I've worked with them both, and they're both really great, you know.
Right.
I'm probably friendlier along with Bobby D than with Bobby. So,
I see.
But I've known Bobby De Niro a long time, and I'm friendly with him, and we've shared a lot of things. Robert Duvall is a character. He's an absolute character. I think but I will say his performance in this movie is the best I've ever
in Get Low
witnessed. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think you're eccentric in the sense that, like, I've read that you show up to people's parties randomly. You're not invited. I'm not talking about celebrity parties. I'm talking about people. He
just shows up at a person's house?
You just show up at people's homes. Is that true or false?
Well, you know, as long as you bring something, you know, it's the people that don't bring anything that are
Bill, that's wild.
You can crash a party.
A nice bottle of wine or champagne or something. People are like, oh, I guess I did invite him. You know, they don't even remember. He looks familiar. I must know him. You know, it's like that.
Wow.
As long as you behave well and you're willing to, you know, dance, people are okay with you at a party, you know, and if you pick up after yourself and you're polite. It's mostly about manners. I try to stress to my own boys, and I really do believe that, you know, whatever your parents taught you about manners is the secret to most everything.
Why would you do that?
I don't know. See, this is why I got to get Bill in here.
Yeah.
I could tie him down and get these answers. What, you have a girlfriend right now?
No.
Nothing. When's the last time you got laid?
It was a weekday.
A long time? Have you gone a half a year without sex?
Huh? I think I may have done it once. I may have done that once. No, I'm not. You know, it's.
You're not that hung
not
up
celibate.
on it.
It's like landscaping. Yeah, no, you've got to. Even in the winter, you have to do something.
Well, I mean, I just wonder what's going on over there. I got to find out. But what is it, Gary?
You know, the movie people wanted us to know that he's up for an Independent Spirit Award this weekend.
Oh, really?
You didn't even know that.
Yeah, I knew I was nominated. I didn't realize it was this weekend. That means the Oscars are very close.
Yes, they are.
Does that mean you're going to go to the Independent Spirit Awards or not? I'm hearing this right now. Kind of sudden. What does that mean to be up? Isn't there an award ceremony?
Yeah,
do you feel Bill should go?
If memory serves me correct, if the Oscars are the Oscars this Sunday.
Yes.
I think they're so the Spirit Awards are this Saturday.
Okay.
And
it is a televised.
It's a televised event. Yeah, it's become a big
Bill,
deal.
if you don't go, I'll go as a representative of you.
You'll accept the award if he wins?
You want me to accept for you?
Well, if no one else is there may be a couple of other people from the film that'll be there, and they might just run up and grab it for me. But I don't even know. I've won a couple of those, and they're nice. It's a nice party. It's a much more relaxed party and more fun than the Oscars party. The Oscars party is pretty crazy.
Do you display awards? Do you have a whole trophy case?
They're all just sort of up in a corner, up on the wall.
That's the cool thing. If I ever got
up on a shelf.
That's the cool thing. If I ever got an award, like a cool award, you know, Bill got awards, I would keep them like in a shitty place and like almost like I didn't care.
They're just there.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, those things. Yeah, I should put those in the garbage. To have a display case.
Oh, it's
very
embarrassing.
Very gauche. Listen, Bill Murray, I would put my awards in the towel closet. You would see. Listen, Bill. Get in here one day. I know it's early for you. Come on in. Let's have a civilized discussion.
We can be fun.
Well, you sound good, Howard.
Thank you.
It's nice to speak to you, and I'm glad it's going. How's this serious thing working out?
The serious thing is working out wonderfully. I've got to tell you, it is the most creative freedom I've ever had. And despite the fact that you think I disappeared, we have millions of followers here. It's a new medium, and the people that I work for here are very, very pleasant. And they really don't get involved, and they let us do our thing. And there's no interference from the government. So I love it.
Well, good for you. I'm glad that worked out.
I'm happy.
It was kind of, I know a lot of people don't have Sirius, and I would hear you occasionally in a rent-a-car, you know.
Right.
That's where I'd get you. But,
great.
You know, unless you're renting a car.
Well, you could get me on your smartphone now.
And I was conflicted because it used to be XM and Sirius.
Right.
And now they're one, right?
That's right. They're one.
Yeah, and I really came down as an XM guy because it had Major League Baseball, and I really wanted to hear the out-of-town baseball games.
Well, now we're both
together.
Well, you can get us on this. Do you have a smartphone?
Not really.
So you're like an anti-technology.
Does he carry a cell phone?
Do you have a cell phone?
Yeah, I have one now. It's a BlackBerry.
You got email?
No, I'm not an email guy.
Look at you.
See?
This is crazy. I love all this new technology.
You're certainly not on Facebook or Twitter.
You on Twitter? What's your name? I'll follow you.
There's someone named Bill Murray on Facebook. But
it's not you.
Not I.
Steve Martin's on Twitter. I follow him. I read him. It's very good. Do you like Steve?
I haven't seen Steve in a coon's age. He had a funny thing that he did. He used to give people, when people would ask for his autograph, he'd reach in his wallet and he'd hand them a card. And you should find out what it said, but it was pretty much saying, this is just to acknowledge that you met me.
Yeah.
So on. It's a really funny card. He spends time doing stuff like that.
Will you sign autographs for fans?
Sure.
You will. You're not uptight about that.
Well, I don't. The pros give me the creeps. The guys who show up at
right, professionals
with lots and lots of things that they've collected.
Yeah.
Jeez, I hate to hang up on you. I had a whole bunch of questions for you about a bunch of different things, but I feel I'm holding you hostage.
That's all right.
Hope you're doing this from bed.
Howard, I want you to see this movie, and then
I will.
You tell me. But this is it's a really beautiful movie. This guy Aaron made a beautiful movie.
The movie's called Get Low. It's available today on DVD and Blu-ray. What are you doing today? What are you going to be doing?
Today,
we playing golf?
Today I might putt a little bit. I won a golf tournament last week in Pebble Beach.
I heard you were excited.
It was fun. Golf, no, today I'm just going to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try and find that Ghostbusters script. It's over there somewhere.
Yeah, I'll call Ivan and let him know you were reading it.
I have to call him too. Okay.
All right, Bill.
All right, you guys take care.
All right, thank you.
Take the day off, will you? You work too much.
I know, I'm exhausted.
Okay.
All right, man. Well, I love you, and I appreciate you, and keep on doing what you're doing.
Thanks, Howard.
All right, Bill. Bill Murray.
Bye.
Bye,
the movie is called Get Low. Cut off my own mic.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I love that guy.
Oh, it's such fun to talk to him. He has that demeanor. You never know if he's disgruntled or if he's okay.
I wanted to get into like his relationship with Letterman because he goes on that show.
Yeah.
I want to find out.
Does he not do Leno?
I don't think so.
Oh, that would have been interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, I had him on for an hour just now.
I know. And you got to a lot, but you didn't get to that.
No, and I want to get into...
He wasn't giving up the women.
No, I'll get that out of him.
Because you think he slept with a lot of the stars, the guest stars?
Oh, yeah. I think his penis was constantly in some vagina somewhere for a period of years. and he's just not coming clean. Let me take a